Les Misérables by Victor Hugo is a sweeping epic that tells the story of several characters over a span of many years, centering on the struggle between justice, morality, and the human capacity for both redemption and despair. At its heart is Jean Valjean, a former convict whose life is transformed by an act of kindness, and his long-running conflict with the law, represented by the relentless Inspector Javert. Jean Valjean's redemption. Jean Valjean begins the story as a man hardened by 19 years of imprisonment for stealing a loaf of bread to feed his starving family. After his release, society shuns him because of his criminal past, but a kind bishop, Monseigneur Myriel, offers him food and shelter. When Valjean attempts to steal from the bishop, the clergyman forgives him and even gives him more valuables, urging him to use them to live a better life. This act of mercy deeply affects Valjean, and he resolves to turn his life around. He breaks his parole and disappears, adopting a new identity as Monsieur Madeleine, a wealthy factory owner and the mayor of a small town. Fantine's tragedy. Fantine, one of Valjean's factory workers, suffers greatly. She is a single mother who had left her illegitimate daughter, Cosette, in the care of the Thénardier, a greedy and abusive couple who run an inn. When Fantine is fired from her job, she falls into destitution, selling her hair, teeth, and eventually becoming a prostitute to support her daughter. Valjean discovers her plight and, feeling responsible for her suffering, vows to take care of Cosette after Fantine dies. Valjean and Javert. Throughout the story, Valjean is pursued by Inspector Javert, a man obsessed with law and order. For Javert, Valjean is a criminal who must be brought to justice, and he cannot reconcile the idea that a man like Valjean could change. Javert's dogged pursuit of Valjean symbolizes the harshness of the legal system and the rigidity of morality as defined by the law. Cosette and Marius Valjean eventually rescues Cosette from the Thénardier and raises her as his own daughter, keeping their lives secret to avoid Javert's pursuit. As Cosette grows into a young woman, she falls in love with Marius Pontmercy, a passionate young revolutionary. Marius is deeply involved in a student-led uprising against the oppressive French government, culminating in the famous June Rebellion of 1832. The June Rebellion. The climax of the novel takes place during the rebellion, where Marius and his fellow revolutionaries fight against the authorities at a barricade in the streets of Paris. Valjean, who has grown to love Marius for Cosette's sake, risks his life to save the young man during the uprising. He even spares Javert's life when he has the chance to kill him. This act of mercy challenges everything Javert believes in, leading to his emotional and moral crisis. Javert's demise. Unable to cope with the idea that Valjean, a man he has long viewed as irredeemable, could show such compassion, Javert is torn between his duty to arrest Valjean and the mercy that Valjean has shown him. Unable to reconcile these conflicting values, Javert ultimately commits suicide by throwing himself into the Seine River. Valjean's final redemption. In the end, Valjean's past catches up with him, and his health begins to fail. Though Marius and Cosette marry, Marius initially pushes Valjean away, believing him to be a criminal. Eventually, Marius learns the full truth about Valjean's sacrifices and reconciles with him, but it is too late. Jean Valjean dies at peace, surrounded by the love of Cosette and Marius, having achieved his moral redemption. Les Misérables is a profound exploration of justice, love, sacrifice, and the possibility of redemption, set against the backdrop of a tumultuous period in French history. It portrays the deep divisions between rich and poor, the struggle for human dignity, and the eternal question of whether people can truly change.